Think about the way you live your life, the way you find answers in a split second, connect with your friends, or even how our entire global economy ticks. What if I told you that a huge piece of that reality was dreamed up and built by just a handful of people? It's not a sci-fi movie plot. In 2025, a small group of Jewish families and innovators aren't just playing the game of tech and finance. In many ways, they wrote the rules. We're talking about fortunes so massive they make your head spin, built not on old money or dusty estates, but on code, data, and a relentless drive to build what's next. If you're picturing old, dynastic families counting gold in secret vaults, you can toss that image out the window. Today, the biggest fortunes on Earth are being built in the digital world, on the floors of Wall Street, and in the complex universe of AI and cloud computing. This massive shift was spearheaded by a generation of brilliant, driven, and sometimes controversial people who completely changed the definition of a modern tycoon. In this video, we're counting down the 10 richest Jewish families and individuals in the world for 2025. But this isn't just a list of names and numbers. We're getting into the real stories behind their jaw-dropping wealth. We'll look at where they came from immigrant beginnings and humble roots to the dorm rooms of Harvard and Stanford. We'll break down the empires they built, with companies that have become household names. We'll also explore what role their Jewish identity has played in their lives, shaping everything from their business deals to their politics and their incredible philanthropy. Some are among the biggest givers on the planet, pouring billions into global health, education, and the future of the Jewish people. Others keep their heritage more private. From the minds that brought us Google and Facebook to the financiers who move markets, these are the stories of the families at the top. Let's get into the countdown. Number 10. Len Blavatnik. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Sir Leonard Len Blavatnik, a man whose journey from the Soviet Union to the top of global business is truly one for the books. With a net worth hovering around $30 billion, Blavatnik is a master of the strategic investment, turning everything from post-Soviet industrial plants to American media icons into a personal fortune. Blavatnik was born in 1957 to a Jewish family in Odessa, Ukraine. His family managed to immigrate to the US in 1978, where he became a citizen. Armed with a sharp mind and an unstoppable drive, he got a master's at Columbia and an MBA from Harvard. In 1986, he founded Access Industries, the private industrial group that would become the engine for his wide-ranging investments. His first huge win came from the chaos of post-Soviet Russia. He and a university friend dove into the newly privatized aluminum and oil industries. Their venture eventually sold its massive stake in the oil giant TNK-BP to state-owned Rosneft in 2013 for a staggering $28 billion. Blavatnik's reported $7 billion cut from that deal gave him a massive war chest to start buying into Western companies. While Russian resources built his early fortune, his most famous move was in American entertainment. In 2011, Access Industries snapped up Warner Music Group for $3.3 billion. The music industry was in turmoil, and many thought it was a terrible bet. Blavatnik saw the future. He guided the company through the shift to streaming and took it public in 2020, with its valuation soaring past $13 billion. His portfolio also includes a major stake in the sports streaming service DAZN, often called the Netflix of sports. Blavatnik's philanthropy is just as ambitious as his business deals. Through his family foundation, he's given more than $1 billion to over 250 institutions, including massive donations to Oxford, which created the Blavatnik School of Government, and Harvard. He's also a major supporter of Jewish causes, donating to Tel Aviv University and funding food banks in Israel. In 2017, he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his philanthropic work. Blavatnik's career is a masterclass in seeing massive opportunity where everyone else just sees risk.
Number 9. Eyal Ofer. At number 9, we have an Israeli magnate whose empire is everywhere you look, from the ships on the high seas to the skyscrapers of Manhattan. Eyal Ofer, with an estimated net worth of $28.2 billion, is the head of a family whose wealth is built on the very foundations of our world, shipping and real estate. His story is all about taking a family legacy and turning it into a modern global powerhouse. Eyal Ofer was basically born into the business. His father, Sami Ofer, was a Romanian-born Israeli shipping legend and once the richest man in Israel. From day one, Eyal and his brother Idan were surrounded by international trade. After a stint as an intelligence officer in the Israeli Air Force, Eyal went to London to study maritime law, getting ready to take over the family business. When their father passed away in 2011, the brothers split the massive Offer empire. Eyal took charge of the international shipping and real estate, and he has since grown them enormously. He's the chairman of Offer Global, a Monaco-based company with a sprawling portfolio. Its shipping division, Zodiac Group, runs one of the largest private shipping fleets in the world, with over 200 vessels crisscrossing the globe. But Offer's power isn't just at sea, it's cemented on land. His real estate firm, Global Holdings Group, owns an incredible collection of over 120 prime properties across the globe. We're talking about iconic Manhattan buildings like 15 Central Park West and London's Vogue House. His strategy is simple: buy premium, irreplaceable buildings in the world's greatest cities. On top of that, Offer has diversified into energy, venture capital, and has stakes in companies like Royal Caribbean Cruises. He clearly understands that you have to mix old-school, hard asset industries with the forward-thinking worlds of tech and finance. As Israel's richest citizen, Offer's philanthropy is deeply tied to his home country and his passions. The Eyal and Marilyn Offer Family Foundation is a major donor to arts, culture, and education, giving huge sums to institutions like the Tel Aviv Museum of Art and supporting health initiatives in Israel. His story shows a different way to build incredible wealth today, not by inventing some new technology, but by mastering and modernizing the industries that physically build and connect our world. Number 8. David and Simon Rubin. Coming in at number 8 are the famously private but incredibly powerful Rubin brothers. With a combined fortune of over $34 billion, David and Simon built their empire on guts, shrewd timing, and a knack for dominating old-school industries like metals and real estate in a very new-school way. Their story begins not in London or New York, but in Bombay, India, where they were born into an Iraqi Jewish family. In the 1950s, the brothers moved with their mother to London, where they grew up in a working-class neighborhood and attended state schools. David started out in scrap metals, while Simon began in the carpet business, eventually buying out England's oldest carpet company. Their big break came with the fall of the Soviet Union. The brothers dove headfirst into the chaotic Russian metals market of the 1990s. Their company, Transworld Group, became a dominant force, at one point controlling a significant chunk of the world's aluminum output. After making a fortune, they sold their Russian assets around the year 2000 and pivoted, focusing their immense capital on what would become their true calling: real estate. Today, Rubin Brothers is a global property powerhouse. They own a vast portfolio of office buildings, hotels, and retail centers across the UK and Europe, as well as high-profile properties in the US like the W South Beach in Miami. But they're not just landlords. They also have major investments in data centers, airports, and even a stake in the Newcastle United Football Club. Despite their massive influence, the brothers remain intensely private. Their public-facing work is often seen through the Rubin Foundation, which focuses on healthcare and education. They've made huge donations to establish Rubin College at Oxford University and also founded the Nancy Rubin Primary School, a Jewish day school in London named in honor of their mother. Their story is a powerful example of turning industrial grit into a sophisticated, multi-generational fortune.
Number 7. Miriam Adelson. Entering our list at number 7 is the matriarch of a sprawling gaming, media, and sports empire, Dr. Miriam Adelson. After her husband, Sheldon Adelson, passed away in 2021, she inherited a controlling stake in the Las Vegas Sands casino empire, and with it, a fortune estimated between $32 and $40 billion. She is now one of the richest women on earth and a powerhouse in global politics and philanthropy. But Miriam Adelson's story didn't start in a boardroom. It started in a medical clinic. Born in Tel Aviv, she grew up in Haifa and became a respected physician specializing in the treatment of drug addiction. She founded addiction research clinics in both Tel Aviv and Las Vegas, doing pioneering work in a field she is still passionate about today. Her life took a dramatic turn when she met Sheldon Adelson, the visionary and often polarizing founder of Las Vegas Sands. Together, they built a global gaming empire with iconic casinos in Las Vegas, Singapore, and Macau. After Sheldon's death, Miriam and her family took control, owning more than half of the company. While they famously sold their Las Vegas properties, their focus remains on their incredibly profitable Asian resorts, like the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. However, the Ellison family's influence now goes way beyond the casino floor. In a huge move into the world of professional sports, the family bought a majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks NBA team in late 2023. The high-profile purchase added a major cultural asset to their already impressive portfolio. Miriam Ellison is also a media mogul. She is the publisher of Israel Hayom, a free daily newspaper in Israel, and her family owns the Las Vegas Review-Journal. These platforms give her a powerful voice in both Israeli and American politics. More than almost anyone on this list, Ellison is known for her immense political influence. She and her late husband were among the biggest donors to the Republican Party and to former President Donald Trump. Her political advocacy is deeply tied to her staunch support for Israel. She has used her fortune and her media outlets to promote this cause and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2018. Her philanthropy mirrors these priorities, with massive donations to Jewish education, Holocaust remembrance, and Israeli medical institutions. Dr. Miriam Ellison wields a unique combination of financial, media, and political power that makes her one of the most influential Jewish figures in the world. Number 6. Steve Ballmer. At number 6 is a man famous for his explosive energy, his over-the-top passion, and a fortune he built at the very center of the PC revolution. Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft and current owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, is one of the wealthiest people alive. His wealth is a direct result of being in the right place, at the right time, with the right friend. Ballmer's story is forever tied to Microsoft and Bill Gates. He was born in Detroit. His father was a Swiss immigrant, and his mother's family was Jewish. He went to Harvard, where he lived down the hall from Gates. While Gates dropped out to start Microsoft, Ballmer finished his degree, but in 1980, Gates convinced him to drop out of Stanford Business School to join his tiny software company as its first-ever business manager. At Microsoft, Ballmer was the business-focused, sales-driven personality to Gates's technical genius. His legendary passion and showmanship became the stuff of corporate legend, and he was the driving force behind the aggressive sales machine that made Windows and Office the default software for the entire world. He took over from Gates in 2000 and held the job until 2014. His time as CEO was a mixed bag. Microsoft's profits soared, but the company was criticized for being late to the game on key trends like mobile, search, and social media. But Ballmer's incredible wealth doesn't come from his CEO's salary. It comes from the stock he got as an early employee, making him one of the only non-founders in history to become a billionaire this way. After leaving Microsoft, Ballmer made a huge splash in the sports world. In 2014, he bought the Los Angeles Clippers for a record-breaking $2 billion. He has since become one of the most visible and passionate owners in sports, famous for his courtside antics and his willingness to spend big, including building a brand new state-of-the-art arena for the team. Ballmer and his wife Connie have also dedicated themselves to philanthropy, focusing on economic mobility in the U.S. and creating USA Facts, a nonprofit designed to make government data easy for everyone to understand. While his giving is less focused on religious causes than some others on this list, he has supported Jewish community programs. Ballmer's story is the ultimate example of how getting in on the ground floor of a world-changing company can lead to a fortune of unimaginable size.
Number 5. Sergey Brin. Cracking our top 5 is Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google and one of the key architects of the modern internet. With a net worth estimated to be in the range of $140 billion, his life is a powerful story of immigration, genius-level intellect, and the creation of a tool that completely changed how we access information. Brin was born in Moscow in 1973 to a Russian Jewish family. His parents were both brilliant mathematicians who faced professional discrimination and anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. His father was even blocked from pursuing a PhD in physics because he was Jewish.
Looking for a better life for their son, the Brin family applied for an exit visa and, with help from the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, moved to the United States in 1979. This experience of escaping oppression had a profound impact on Brin. He grew up in Maryland, excelled in math and computer science, and eventually landed in the PhD program at Stanford University. And that's where he met his partner in crime, Larry Page. The two were an intellectual odd couple who argued about almost everything, but they found common ground in their obsession with the structure of the World Wide Web. They co-authored a paper that laid out their revolutionary idea. Instead of just counting keywords, their algorithm, called PageRank, analyzed the links between pages to figure out a page's authority and relevance. In 1998, they dropped out of Stanford, got some funding, and launched Google from a rented garage. Their mission was wild: to organize all the world's information and make it universally accessible. Their search engine was just so much better than anything else that Google's rise was meteoric. Sergey Brin served as Google's president of technology, overseeing the engineering behind products like Gmail, Android, and Chrome. After the company restructured into Alphabet in 2015, Brin shifted his focus to far-out projects at the company's moonshot factory X, working on everything from self-driving cars to life extension tech. He stepped down from his executive role in 2019, but remains on the board as a controlling shareholder. Brin's philanthropy is often quiet. He's made huge donations to fight Parkinson's disease, a condition that affects his own family. And in a nod to his own past, he donated $1 million to the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, the organization that helped his family escape the Soviet Union all those years ago. Sergey Brin's legacy isn't just his fortune, it's the tool he helped build, a tool that has given billions of people the power of knowledge. Number 4. Larry Page. At number 4 is the other half of the duo that created Google. Larry Page, as the visionary co-founder and former CEO of Google and its parent company Alphabet, Larry's relentless curiosity was the driving force behind the world's most powerful information machine. His net worth, estimated to be over $144 billion, is a direct reflection of his role in building one of the most valuable companies in history. Unlike his partner Sergey Brin, Page's story is a bit more all-American. He was born in Michigan to two computer science pioneers. His mother had a master's in the field, and his father was a professor who earned one of the first ever PhDs in computer science. He literally grew up surrounded by technology and scientific magazines. It was practically in his DNA. Page's Jewish heritage comes from his mother's side. His maternal grandfather actually immigrated to Israel, but Page was raised in a secular home where intellect and technology were the real religion. This upbringing gave him an unshakable belief that technology could solve the world's biggest problems. After studying at the University of Michigan, he went to Stanford for his PhD, where he met Sergey Brin. It was Page who had the initial breakthrough idea for Google. He became obsessed with the mathematical structure of the web and had the key insight that a page's importance could be ranked by the pages that linked to it. This was the birth of the PageRank algorithm, the secret sauce that made Google's search results so much better than everyone else's. As CEO, Page was the company's big picture guy. He constantly pushed Google to chase 10x ideas, moonshots that could change the world. This thinking led to wildly ambitious projects like Google Books, which tried to digitize every book ever written, and Android, which now runs on most of the world's smartphones. In 2015, Page was the architect behind Google's transformation into Alphabet, a holding company that allowed the core Google business to thrive while other wild bets like the self-driving car company Waymo could operate on their own. He became CEO of Alphabet, but in 2019, he and Brin both stepped down from their executive roles, though they remain on the board with controlling shares. Page is famously private and has mostly stepped out of the public eye. His philanthropy is similarly quiet, often focused on tech-based solutions to global problems. While he's no longer running the day-to-day, his vision still defines Alphabet. His legacy is that of a quiet, relentless innovator who didn't just build a company, he created a whole new way for us to interact with the world. The fortunes we're talking about are almost impossible to wrap your head around, and they were all built on ideas that have completely reshaped our world. If you're finding these stories as fascinating as we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you won't want to miss what we have coming up next. Let us know in the comments which of these stories has surprised you the most. Now let's get to our top 3. Number 3. Michael Bloomberg. In our number 3 spot is a man who has reached the top of not one, but 3 of the most powerful arenas there are: finance, media, and politics. Michael Bloomberg, with a net worth estimated around $100 billion, is the founder of the financial data empire Bloomberg LP and the former 3-term mayor of New York City. Bloomberg was born in Boston in 1942 to a middle-class Jewish family. Ambitious from the start, he worked his way through Johns Hopkins by taking out loans and working as a parking lot attendant. Then he went on to get an MBA from Harvard. His career started on Wall Street at Salomon Brothers in 1966. He began at the very bottom, counting securities in the bank's vault, but he quickly climbed a ladder to become a star trader and eventually a partner. In 1981, after being pushed out during a merger, Bloomberg used his $10 million severance package not to find a new job, but to build something of his own. He saw that the financial world desperately needed faster, better access to market data. That single insight led to his company, which he eventually named Bloomberg LP. His signature product, the Bloomberg Terminal, became the must-have tool on the desk of every serious trader and analyst, delivering real-time data, news, and analytics. From there, he built a global media empire spanning TV, radio, and magazines. Today, he still owns 88% of the company, which reportedly brings in over $13 billion a year. In 2001, Bloomberg took on a new challenge: politics. He ran for mayor of New York City and served 3 terms, leading the city through its recovery after 9/11 with his famous data-driven approach. He even made a self-funded run for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020, spending over $1 billion of his own money. Bloomberg is also one of the world's greatest philanthropists. He signed the Giving Pledge, promising to give away the vast majority of his fortune. Through Bloomberg Philanthropies, he's already donated over $17 billion to causes like public health, gun control, and climate change. His Jewish identity is a key part of his giving. He's been a massive supporter of educational and cultural projects in both the US and Israel, including major institutions like the Technion, Israel Institute of Technology. Michael Bloomberg's career is a masterclass in using information, first to build a fortune, then for public service, and finally to make a global impact. Number 2. Larry Ellison. Coming in at number 2 is the flashy, fiercely competitive, and visionary co-founder of Oracle. A true titan of the software industry, Ellison's net worth has exploded, recently soaring to an eye-watering figure estimated to be as high as $320 billion, which briefly made him the richest person on the planet in late 2025. His fortune is proof of his decades-long dominance in the database market and a brilliant, massively successful pivot to cloud computing and AI. Ellison's childhood was anything but privileged. Born in the Bronx to an unwed Jewish mother, he was adopted and raised by his aunt and uncle in a middle-class Jewish household on the south side of Chicago. He was a bright but unfocused student, dropping out of 2 different universities before heading to California in his early 20s with almost no money and no degree. He worked a series of programming jobs and learned about database design. In the 1970s, he read a paper from an IBM scientist describing a new relational database. While IBM didn't see the commercial potential, Ellison did. In 1977, he and 2 partners founded a company that would become Oracle. Their goal was to build a commercial relational database that could run on mainstream computers.
Oracle's success was built on Ellison's legendary sales tactics and a win-at-all-costs culture. The company became the go-to database provider for pretty much every major corporation and government on the planet. Ellison ran Oracle as its charismatic and often confrontational CEO for an incredible 37 years. He stepped down in 2014 to become chairman and chief technology officer, and he's still the main force behind the company's strategy. Recently, Oracle's stock and Ellison's wealth shot into the stratosphere thanks to the AI boom. The company made huge investments in cloud infrastructure capable of handling the massive needs of AI models, and it paid off big time. A major investment in Tesla, where he sat on the board for a while, also added nicely to his fortune. Outside of Oracle, Ellison is known for his extravagant lifestyle, which includes a huge real estate portfolio, super yachts, and owning 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai. He has signed the Giving Pledge and has been a major, though often quiet, supporter of medical research, including significant donations to Israeli institutions. Larry Ellison's story is about spotting a revolutionary idea, executing it ruthlessly for decades, and making a perfect pivot just in time to catch the next giant wave of technology. Number 1. Mark Zuckerberg. And now at our number 1 spot is the man who built the digital town square for a huge portion of the planet, Mark Zuckerberg. As the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, Zuckerberg rules over a social media empire with billions of users. His net worth in 2025 is estimated to be around $220 billion, placing him at the very top of global wealth. Zuckerberg's story is the defining tech legend of his generation. Raised in a Reform Jewish household in New York, he was a programming prodigy from a young age. He famously launched the Facebook from his Harvard dorm room in 2004 as a way for college kids to connect. What started as a campus network exploded, and Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard to move to Palo Alto and run the company full-time. Under his leadership, Facebook grew at a mind-blowing pace. His strategy was simple: aggressive growth, a willingness to move fast and break things, and a series of game-changing acquisitions. Buying Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014 for what seemed like crazy amounts of money at the time turned out to be genius moves that cemented his company's total dominance over social media. Of course, Zuckerberg's journey has been filled with controversy, from lawsuits over the company's founding to intense backlash over user privacy, data collection, and the spread of misinformation. In 2021, he rebranded the company as Meta, signaling a massive bet on building the metaverse, an immersive virtual reality internet. While the metaverse has been a hugely expensive and long-term project, the company's renewed focus on AI has sent its stock price through the roof, adding over $100 billion to Zuckerberg's net worth in just over a year. His wealth is almost entirely tied to his 13% stake in Meta, which gives him both his fortune and his controlling power. In 2015, after the birth of his first child, Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, pledged to give away 99% of their Meta shares over their lifetimes through the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative. CZI is set up to advance human potential and promote equality, focusing on science, education, and justice. While CZI operates on a global scale, Zuckerberg's specific Jewish connections to causes are less pronounced than many others on this list. At just 41 years old in 2025, Mark Zuckerberg's story is far from over. He didn't just build a platform that connected the world. He's now trying to build the next world we'll all connect in. So, after all that, what's the big picture? This list tells a story about a historic shift in wealth and power. The old money, industrial age fortunes have been swept aside by a new class of self-made titans from the worlds of technology and finance. The names on this list, Zuckerberg, Ellison, Page, Brin, are some of the primary architects of our digital world. They built the platforms we use to talk to each other, the search engines we use to learn, and the software that runs the global economy. Others, like Bloomberg and the Rubin brothers, mastered the flow of capital and property that our world is built on. Their backgrounds are all different, from immigrants fleeing persecution to the kids of American professors. But there's a common thread of incredible ambition, raw brain power, and a relentless need to innovate that runs through every single one of them. Their connection to their Jewish heritage is also varied. For some, like Miriam Adelson, it's at the very center of their identity and philanthropy. For others, it's a more private part of their personal history. But all of them are part of a long tradition that puts a high value on education, intellectual curiosity, and sheer perseverance. As they continue to shape our world with their investments, their code, and their philanthropy, their influence is only going to grow. They're not just living in the future, they're building it. The real question isn't just who they are, but what on earth they're going to do next.